In the eyes of many, Washington, D.C. is the capital and birthplace of the world's greatest nation. Washington, D.C. is also the birthplace of America's greatest sin, slavery, the birthplace of America's legislation that allowed for the continuation and perpetuation of slavery and institutionalized injustices since slavery's abolishment.
In her book, The 1619 Project, professor and journalist Nikole Hannah-Jones challenges us to look at the American story through the lens of slavery. Recently, the book has been adapted into a 6-part series that is now available on Hulu. And today, we're here at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, just 1 mile away from Congress, where Republican legislators discussed the banning of the 1619 Project.
They're here to watch the last episode of the series, Justice, and hear a conversation between actor and activist Yara Shahidi and Nikole Hannah-Jones herself. Every seat is packed and attendees are clamoring to learn more about the 1619 Project. I had a chance to speak with Donnelly Jamna, the moderator for tonight's discussion, and she reflects on what she wants attendees to take away from tonight.
I think that both the speakers captured the spirit of that well. I'm leaving thinking a lot about hope, about action, and about storytelling with a purpose, whether that is through journalistic means, whether that is through media and entertainment. I think Nikole talking about the power of narrative, and narrative being something that moves people, that drives policy, that really shapes the world is a really great takeaway.
Shahidi and Hannah-Jones engaged in an insightful discussion talking about the 1619 Project docuseries, to success in their respective fields, to the legitimacy of Afro-American studies at higher level institutions.
I think when we got into acting was truly because of stories, because of books that I read, because of Christopher Paul Curtis, Bud Not Buddy, and Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, things that we were reading in elementary school, and just how impacted I was by these worlds, both real and imaginary. And I think when I was reading so much, the funny thing was I got to imagine a world where everyone looked like me and my family and me and my folks.
Nikole Hannah-Jones would like to remind us that in the face of adversity and a declining democracy, now is the time to act.
I think citizens have a lot to do to repair our democracy. I mean, there's so many fractures in our democracy right now, but a primary thing that citizens have to do is first they have to understand that democracy in America has always been contested, that democracy in America is actually very young and quite fragile. And so what we're seeing today is part of a long legacy of efforts to really subvert democracy for people of color.
At the screening tonight, many young Black journalists were in the crowd. Busaina Ibrahim, a recent graduate of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, says that she felt
like taking ownership of your excellence, and that really stuck with me because, and what she was talking about is like, you can't really control what's going on around you, but you can always take power in your excellence and take control of your excellence in whatever you choose to do in this life. And I think with both what Yara and Nikole were talking about in terms of just like finding your place in the world, just honoring yourself, honoring your excellence was a really like beautiful message to tell young people, because I think especially young Black people, because like that's something that we need to hear is like, just remembering who we are, where we come from. And I think that was another big part of what I learned, is just like remembering where you come from and what's owed to you.
The 1619 Project first started off as a piece for the New York Times Magazine. Since then, it has been adapted into a long-form piece of journalism, a children's book, a podcast, and now a docuseries. Hannah-Jones says that there is still more to come.
When I first pitched the 1619 Project, I had no idea it would become all of the things that it has become. I certainly didn't expect that it would one day be a 6-part documentary series on Hulu, and all of the other iterations. But what's next for the project is we are still working on 2 more books that are going to come out, a middle grades book as well as a kind of coffee table art book, a keepsake book for 1619. And then after that, who knows with 1619. what the future holds for 1619. But what I really hope is that people will continue to engage with it and to learn from it so they can have a better understanding of the country that we live in.
I'm Trinity Webster Bash, reporting live for HU News Service.